became clear that what we'd done is we had swapped out the Walter Cronkite gatekeepers, not for no gatekeepers, right, but for a new set of gatekeepers. And the new set of gatekeepers is typically the social media companies. Those are the people who are determining what gets highlighted, what gets amplified, what gets buried, what gets taken down, what gets a notice put against it, etc., right?
And they can measure how you respond and how often you engage and re-engage. And the best way to get people to engage constantly is to inflame their emotions. We're all feeling paranoid and all feeling angry, and no one's actually talking to each other face to face. And COVID has just made this worse.
If you support Robert E. Lee, you hate this country. He literally attacked us.
You gotta come in here, you gotta embrace American culture. People say, well, you're just being an ethno-nationalist. Okay, whatever.
The constant theme is that the other side is not just wrong, but they're treasonous. That they're counter to the very values of America. And if you don't tell that story in a way that screams it or makes you feel angry about it, it just won't spread. So that's how the story is told. And to the extent that's the way we understand politics, we've destroyed the capacity to solve or to deal with politics.
The mainstream media knows that it will only get real ratings if it plays into that. And the cycle reproduces itself until you end up with something like January the 6th.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
Okay, here we are again in the unusual position of not only interrupting the President of the United States, but correcting the President of the United States.
From the point of view of the protesters, what they were doing was completely rational. If it's true that the entire electoral system has been rigged, that Trump won in a landslide.
We are going to the Capitol, where our problems are.
That they had been told this by most of the media that they access, and then told it explicitly by the president himself. It's your duty to stop this theft of the Republic.
A mob of Trump supporters, rioters, went over to where the media was stationed. Let's roll video. They were chased out of their area where they were doing their live shots. And I have to tell you, this was an attack on the First Amendment.
The whole media background made January the 6th inevitable.
And I've never seen this before. Many of the people there were screaming, the media is the enemy of the people, something that President Trump frequently says.
It was rational, logical, if you accept the premises that these people believed in, which had nothing to do with objective reality.
And that's the danger that we are facing. And it does not go away with Donald Trump.
The New York Times subscriptions skyrocketed. The Washington Post did better financially. It was endless fuel for exactly the cable TV shows, endless op-eds, endless hand-wringing about the decline of democracy.
You can't do without Donald Trump. You would be lost without Donald Trump.
That's what he says.
You know that's not true. CNN's ratings would be in the toilet without Donald Trump.
You know that's not true. You're playing for laughs.
What were the ratings before Trump and what are the ratings now?
I would say we might be up 20, we might be up 30%, we might be up 40%. If we go back down 40%, that's okay too.
Well, it may not be.
Of course it is.
As ratings went up, as people consumed TV more, the surveys were also showing that they believed us less. So that meant that we were gaining audience but losing trust, which probably meant that people were consuming the news as entertainment now. Like, we were moving into the entertainment space.
Donald Trump's presidency changed media. And I know some outlets are nervous that their ratings will go down significantly now because they won't be covering President Trump. which is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is that maybe we'll return to journalism in the way that I would like to see us return to it, and the way that the old school approach is, which is to just get back to the facts.
It may have been one of the biggest news years on record, but one estimate suggests more than 16,000 jobs were cut in 2020. That's the highest number since they started keeping track in 2003. But if recent trends are any indication, there is still an appetite for news, and alternative sources are growing. A survey by the Infinite Dial suggests nearly a quarter of Americans now listen to podcasts weekly. And according to Nielsen, news is one of the top 3 most popular podcast genres. Another trend? Newsletters. This past year, dozens of high-profile writers left top mainstream outlets to start their own independent newsletters using a service called Substack. It's become so popular, the top 10 newsletters now bring in millions of dollars per year in subscriptions, and both Twitter and Facebook are planning to roll out similar newsletter services.
So I don't really answer to bosses anymore, but I do try to make a point of kind of going after targets on all sides.
If those of us who've gone to Substack can present a more nuanced or more interesting or more diverse discussion or debate, I think we're going to gain more and more readers, as we are. I now have 90,000 people subscribing to my newsletter. My salary has quadrupled.
I think I was stuck in a system that I could never change. And I think if I had stayed in it, it would have driven me insane.
The reaction that I got from people was really heartening because people sense that something is wrong.
Don't consume garbage. There's no need for that in life. There are a lot of liars out there. Social media is not a trusted source. And your friends who post on social media are also not trusted sources.
Never trust just one source. Pick one from the middle, pick one from either side, and read all 3. And that way, you tell which details are consistent and repeated in all of them. Those are the facts.
Go to a place that really is trustworthy and is doing it for the right reasons.
Make sure that if you are consuming news, that it comes from a source where the reporters do their research, go to the best experts.
Watch something you don't agree with. I mean, I never would have had to have said that 10, 15 years ago, right? But in my mind, that is the only way that we are going to come back together.
It not only helps you see a broader perspective, every now and again they might have a point.
There's a beauty to living in a pluralistic society, and that is you can live next to and amongst and marry and be best friends with and have dinner with people who don't share your political opinions or your religion or your views. Embrace that.
I think the job of the media is to actually live in the world with us, right? And host the conversations with us so we can grapple with real things. So that's the potential that I see, right? That's the opportunity. I think if the news media took that opportunity, it would be like the BBC after the First World War. You'd be giving the people what, at a deep level, they really want and need and are asking for.